What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 22 of the 300 Club podcast. My name is Gil. This is Kelvin over here.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, my peoples?
Yo, I'm excited, bro. Last episode, I said, yo, I hope I come back with great news. And I have great news, bro. Look at this hat that I got, bro.
I
Ooh,
peeped. I peeped. I was actually gonna ask you that on the podcast. That's
I saw that
nice.
I went to the mall this weekend, and I'm like, damn, this shit stands out, bro.
It's clean. Very rare that a hat looks that good with the trademark of the name of
Yeah,
the
with
team
the
on the
full
front.
logo, yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. I like that though.
But we out here, we repping, man. We advanced to the National League Championship Series for the first time since
Who would have
2015.
thought? Who
And
would
we
have thought?
outside, bro. We outside, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, the Mets vibe right now is extremely high. One can argue that they have probably the most momentum right now going on right now in the MLB. In comparison to the Yankees right now, man, I mean, they're looking phenomenal. The Mets are looking great. They're rolling. A lot of clutch hits, a lot of great pitching, a lot of standout performances. I mean, this is shaping out to be a phenomenal playoff run. One that I feel like, yo, you can make a documentary on this. This is
Yes,
insane. And this is
yes.
something that I would definitely want to watch. What are some early observations as now that the Mets, they're the AL division champions at the moment?
Um, Definitely, I feel like this team is very resilient. I feel like they always battle. I feel like there's been many games leading up to the playoffs and in the playoffs where they fell behind almost every game, and they still found a way to crawl and claw and fight and win. And I feel like that's a testament to the team's character. On top of that, I feel
Not
like
just clawing. Sorry to cut you off. Not just clawing back, but exchanging punches. It's
yeah,
like every time the Phillies score, the Mets will score, and vice versa. It was a phenomenal series. I loved every second of it.
yeah, and I feel like the players is always battling, longer at bats. They picked each other up. They trust the baton. They take their walks when they have to, and I feel like that's a recipe for success, especially in the playoffs. On top of that, I feel like the starting rotation has been excellent. I'm not gonna say perfect, but excellent in the sense of they're giving us quality starts for us to have a chance to win, and that's all you can ask for in the postseason. Especially in an era now where a lot of starters don't last more than 3 innings. Like if they're getting torched up fast, they're getting out the game, especially nowadays in the playoffs. But these pitchers of ours are giving us 5, 6, 7 innings consistently in the playoffs. So now, you could give your bullpen a little breather, even though we're very tired. I know we just came home to the Phillies and we haven't been home in almost 20 days. So I'm proud of this team, man. I wish I was in the game, but those tickets are a little pricey. But
Yeah,
nonetheless, I'm happy for the team, man. And this is a dream come true. It's been a long time in the wait. Very good
absolutely. And
team.
I just wanted to share that I've been in more in tune with this series than probably any other series besides the Yankees.
Mm.
I saw a statistic yesterday or a fun fact, should I say, that this is the first time that the Mets have did a champagne bath in their locker room since they've actually opened up the stadium. Isn't that
Yes,
crazy?
yes. And we clinched at home for the first time too.
Right, and that's just well deserved, man. Like one thing that I keep telling anybody that's a baseball fan that I'm around, I always tell them like, yo, the Mets haven't won a championship in nearly 51 years. You
Yeah.
know, like if not now, then when? Like they're long overdue. And it's one of those where it's like if you're a baseball fanatic like I am, like yes, I'm a Yankee fan, but I love baseball all across the board.
They said
Man,
51 years, bro.
when was the last time they won a championship? Wasn't it 19?
86, bro.
It was 86. Oh, I'm sorry. So nearly approaching 40 years. I'm sorry. The one before that was, I believe, like 10 years prior or something like that.
69, 69, yeah.
69. There you go. So, but 1986, nearly 40 years since they won the championship, nearly. And it's like, well, if not then when, like they're well deserving of it. You would argue that maybe every year that goes by, they're even more due. But I love it, man. Like the performance that I want to go ahead and get into. I want to go ahead and share this clip. This was a monumental, like, this was a great thing to see, dude. I saw it live. We're gonna get into like the scheduling and everything. But I just wanted to go ahead and share this clip of the Lindor home run. Give me 1 second here, and it's loading.
Hey,
Sorry,
man, Lindor, what a player. Like, I was talking to my boy, and I'm like, yo, it has to be him with the bases loaded, bro, because, yo, and it's crazy. Yo, real quick, too, like, as you play that, like, it's crazy. Like, the Phillies, like, they were meant to lose last game because think about it. If you're watching that game, the Mets had bases loaded about 3 times yesterday. And I'm like, I get the starter pitcher. He's getting out of these jams, but eventually the Mets are going to be due because that's a recipe for disaster. Allowing leadoff runners to get on base, multiple walks, striking out the side. Like you're burning yourself out even more because it's high leverage moments, you know. And this is very deserving that it was Lindor that came through in that moment, and the city needed it. He needed it, and he officially stamped his signature moment as a Met. So I'm proud of him.
I agree. I agree. No, that was definitely a signature moment. And on top of all of that, one thing that I've been extremely impressed about Francisco Lindor, not only from an offensive standpoint, the defense has always been there, but
Yeah.
I believe that he made the biggest jump in terms of leadership that I've seen in a really long time. This guy, like when he's rounding the bases, as I go ahead and replay the video, like he's not rah rah or anything like that. Like he's very respectful to the game, which I get it. You can show off some emotions. I'm a fan of that, but I think it adds to the quality of a leader that he is. That he's like, hey, like this was a big moment, awesome, but there's still a whole lot of ball game left. And I just think like this is a moment that you can't take for granted in the Mets history. I'm glad that he finally got that moment. About time, dude. Especially from an offensive standpoint, like we were waiting for it. It's there. Another another player that has been a stud for you guys has been Mark
Ooh.
Vientos, man. This dude is emerging to be a top star. 24 years old. He's actually, I saw a statistic where, or a fun fact, should I say, of the fact that growing up he played with multiple MLB stars across various leagues. So this is a guy who's been around. And then right now in the postseason, bro, he's batting 429, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 12 hits, and 28 at bats. Like, what more can you ask for?
This dude is phenomenal. Nickname Swaggy V, aka Mark Vientos, the third baseman cornerstone of the New York Mets. I'm proud of this dude. Well deserved. He didn't even have a full year with the team. He came up in May. He stepped up every month all the way. Without him, we probably would not even be in the situation. This dude had two home runs in the same game against the Phillies. A freaking practically in his first full season. Like you know how impressive that is and how hard it is too. And to have that pressure of like, oh, you're having to bat second in this lineup, like it's tough, like they trust you. And like you said, like he has a 429 average, 1100 plus OPS, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. He demolished the Phillies. Like he
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 did.
was ready to play every game, he's ready to step up. And this dude is just phenomenal, man.
And to think, like, he wasn't even projected to be the starter this
No,
year. Like, it was
no.
supposed to be Brett Beatty, if not,
Yeah.
I think, what's his name? Ronnie Cedeno? Was it Ronnie Cedeno?
Mauricio, he's hurt though.
Mauricio, right there you go. And
Yeah.
sorry, excuse me, I've totally forgot his name. But yeah, dude, like he was supposed to be the projected starter, if anything, and then he comes in and steps up. I mean, it just goes to tell you that the continuity that the Mets have had since starting out really, really bad, and then ended up having like the best record since like June 1st. I mean, these are things that are practiced during the season leading up to playoffs. And these
Yeah.
are the things that can happen during the playoffs. You can't go into a playoffs with question marks as another New York team that we're gonna get into. Nah, man, but I loved it. Like I think, dude, he's emerging. He's emerging. The vibes right now for the Mets is really good. One observation that I have noticed is the approach of Pete Alonso going oppo is not something that he tends to do often, and he's beginning to just sit on the ball a little bit more. And he's not necessarily pulling those outside pitches. He's hitting it the other way, and he's making solid contact. Any other observations that you want to go ahead and share, whether it's on Pete Alonso or the Mets entirely?
I actually think the opposite. From what I've
Oh wow.
observed from the beginning of his career to now, his power alley per se is right center field. That's typically where he drives the ball the most, where he gets most of his home runs. I actually prefer him to pull the ball more, but to the points that I made earlier in previous episodes and earlier in the season, I feel like his issues this year, he's just late on the ball on a lot of things, right? So I like the fact that he kind of simplified his swing just a little bit, worked on the opposite field approach back to his strengths again, like this dude has had a very mediocre year, but without him, he wouldn't be here. Like this dude stepped up when the moment mattered the most with two. I think there was 2 outs, 1 or 2 outs in
Yeah.
the ninth. We were down two, I believe, against Milwaukee, and this dude just gave him the knockout punch. You know what I mean? And he just took their souls, and we still alive. And then he did it again against the Phillies. Like he's locked in. I'm proud of him. I feel like this could be the turnaround of him probably getting that contract. Maybe not the contract that he wants, but maybe he gets re-signed by the Mets on another 2 or 3 year deal if he's willing to accept it, and maybe that changes things depending on how this postseason run goes. I think he's gotten the fans to forget about that dreadful season that he's had based on his postseason performance, and sometimes that's all you need.
That exactly. You can reestablish some value that you might have lost throughout the
Yeah,
year. But at the end of the day, he's doing it where it matters the most.
exactly,
So
exactly.
regardless of how you've done on the regular season, what matters is what he's doing right now. I don't care if it's just playoff stats. He's doing great. They're all doing great. A lot of misconception on his defense too. He's been one of the most solid defensive first basemen in terms of scoops. So that's shout out to him. He really doesn't get the credit he deserves on the
Oh
defensive end.
yeah, he definitely saved Lindor many times, especially when Lindor came back from injury the second
Well,
time.
anybody, not just Lindor. The
No, but
infielders in general is a
I'm putting
cohesive
out more to
unit.
Lindor because that's when I saw it mostly happen in recent times. It's a lot of
Hmm.
balls that Lindor's couldn't get through because of his back, and Pete literally saved them when the inning could have gotten ugly. Like a bad first baseman doesn't make those plays. This is a tough hops, you know.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I get it. Like the stereotype is Peter Alonso's a big husky first baseman. He can't field. He doesn't hit for average.
But
So
he's
it's
mostly
easier
known
to
for the
pick on the
bat.
guy. It's easy to
Right.
pick up on the guy when he's not doing well. But at the end of the day, you got to give credit where it's due. If you look at his numbers from rookie year to now defensively, they've gotten drastically better. Like he's at worst, he's an average fielding first baseman, and then you can live with that. You know, you can live with
Absolutely.
that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'd rather be average than below it, you know?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
some quick observations. So, as we now approaching the end of the NLDS,
yes,
within the next couple of hours or so,
yeah.
who would you rather?
Easy answer. Who I'd
Who
rather
would?
face?
Yeah, I'm talking about who would you rather go up against,
Oh,
the Padres or the Dodgers?
I rather face the Dodgers. Easy, no brainer.
You rather go against the Dodgers,
Yes, no
and
brainer.
and, and why you say that?
Well, we have their number typically. If you look at the history, we beat them in the 2015 NLCS. We actually smoked them. That's when Danny Murphy became a legend.
Right.
If you go further back in 2006, when we had that bomb squad that should have probably won, we swept them in LA too. But that's not even why. I'm just giving you backstory. The reason
Right. Right.
why,
Right.
if I had to compare both of these teams, I feel like the Dodgers have weaker pitching. That I feel like that gives us an advantage. On top of that, they have notable players that are not typically playoff risers, not including Shohei because this is his first run, and I think he's doing pretty solid still. But guys like Mookie are not historically great in the playoffs. He hit a home run yesterday. Max Muncy, some of the other guys are stepping down. Freddie Freeman is still banged up, so that's questionable. I feel like our style of baseball and the pressure we are applying and coming back from behind gives us a competitive edge against the Dodgers. Whereas if you face the Padres, I feel like the Padres, one, we struggled tremendously against them this year during the season.
Hmm.
Two, they have the personnel to compete. Like, yeah, they don't have the best pitcher, but they have three great middle number one, number two, number three pitchers. Didn't see who else? You Darvish is pitching, right? Yeah, you Darvish.
Hmm.
Who else? The guy that just got hurt right now. Who Xavier?
Musgrove.
Yes, he got hurt, but that was a great pitcher. On top of that, they have a dynamic offense that's very explosive. Every time I see their games, the Padres are the type of team that they score runs in bunches, and that's not what you want to face in the playoffs. Like they score 5, 6 runs as they did it the other day against the Dodgers, and that
Right.
easily is a recipe to take you out the game early. And I don't want to face that. That's why I don't want to face the Padres.
Great point. Honestly, and it's funny because I think that so in actuality, I think the Mets can actually make a run, but I feel like the team that puts up the better competition is the Padres. I do
Yes.
agree with the Dodgers, like they just seem to have the number, or they seem to collapse throughout the playoffs. And I
Yeah.
feel like this is a year where it's astonishing to me if the Dodgers even make it that far because they've dealt with so many injuries. But then again, man, you have the likelihoods of like the Teoscar Hernandez of the world. You got money, absolutely, but you have these players that are performing really well right now. And it's always good to see Shohei Ohtani perform under these big stages. I'm pretty sure that's what the MLB wants. I feel like the better matchup is Padres and Mets. And I don't know, man. I will say this going into the next round, and I'm glad that the Mets have a little bit more days off now. They're definitely going to need it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Uh, I just worry about their stamina or their fatigue going into the playoffs, like going into a deeper run. They must be exhausted at this point, and they're still performing day in and day out. But if there's any concern that I have for the Mets, it's gonna be for the next series, the fatigue, the wear and tear. Not only that, but you're also adding the fact that they're gonna be commuting between New York to California,
Different
cross
time zone.
country.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's way harder than it was for them, to go from New York to Philadelphia, which is essentially right next to each other. But no, yeah, good points. I want to switch gears into the Dodgers right now. You brought up a good point the other day where Will Walker Bueller more specifically where he got some of his valuables stolen worth
Yeah.
worth north of 100K. I
Yeah.
believe it was a watch. And then he ended up pitching the very next day. He had like a 5 inning, 6 earned run performance. Did you see that game?
I saw parts of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw parts of it also. I don't know, man. I just feel like that was a recipe for disaster,
Oh, absolutely,
especially yeah,
bro. Absolutely. He's not having the greatest year. He was a ace in the past, and the team, essentially the rotation was built around him. After the Kershaw era, right? So
yeah,
this dude gets a setback. He gets injured. He comes back from injury. He has an over 4 ERA for this season. Now, on top of that, in a high leverage moment with the Dodgers, the Dodgers are known to be honest, they choke a lot in the playoffs, and
they do,
they're
yeah.
really the team to win every year. So now that he has that added pressure, and then on top of that, the day that he pitches, the day before he pitches, he gets assaulted on an outing with his family, his wife, children in Los Angeles. Like it's a lot of layers and asking a lot for a person that's probably dealing with a lot of emotional trauma, maybe of those events. Like at the end of the day, like they're celebrities, they're athletes, but they're humans. And at the end of the day,
And
they have
pitching
feelings.
away in a hostile environment.
He pitching. No, it was at home, bro.
Was it? No way.
No,
I thought it was away.
because I think the incident that I saw it was in Los Angeles. The incident.
Well, you could be right. You could be right. But more or
Well,
less in that environment, holistically in the playoff environment, it's tough,
nonetheless,
dude.
yeah. Nonetheless, I feel like it
Crosstown
just.
rival.
I'm pretty sure, like on top of his preparation, getting his arm ready, like that's still sitting in the back of your mind. Like damn, this just happened, and I didn't have time to process it. Very unfortunate. It
And then
sucks that
it
it
being in
happened.
the news, like it's following him around, like he's being asked about it with reporters and stuff like
Oh,
that. It's very hard to focus, dude. Very hard to
yeah.
focus on that. I agree. I
Um,
agree. Um, wanted to ask you, well, I actually wanted to ask you an opinion on this. I'm gonna go ahead and share this video. Let me go back to share my screen here.
In the
Um,
meantime, guys, subscribe, share, like, leave your
yes.
comments. Let us know what's up.
Absolutely. Let us know what your thoughts and opinions are on the playoffs so far. Are you guys liking what's going on? Are you guys rooting
Yeah,
for the Mets? And now that, teams are beginning to dwindle a little bit, we're running out of options here. You got the Mets still in it. A lot of decisive games happening right now as we speak. But go ahead and share your opinions. Who are you guys rooting for? What are some surprise performances that you guys are observing?
yeah.
And also let us know your opinions on this topic that I wanted to bring up. It's a video where, unfortunately, you have the likes of damn it, I had the damn video prepared. Um, it was where that was Tatis, excuse me. It was where a fan threw a water bottle onto the field. Um, and it was just very disrespectful. Like any major league team should not be allowed to do this where it's all good to be talking shit to the other team or whatever the case is. um but right here, like, they throw something at the bullpen, they threw stuff at the field. Like, you never want to go into an environment where you're you know risk hurting the other players and stuff like that. But what are some thoughts and opinions on, I guess, Dodger fans and how they acted throughout this whole series?
I just think it's nasty behavior. I think it goes back to the conversation we previously had about the Padres having only regional tickets available. Remember, we saw that graphic that they only their fans can purchase those tickets.
Yeah,
I get it now more because those two teams literally hate each other, especially in this era, especially since the Padres invest so much money in their team and they're really trying to take over the LA and be the king of
the
California per
California thing,
se.
yeah.
But I think it's just nasty behavior. I feel like that's not justifiable under any circumstances. I'm a passionate Mets fan, but if my team loses against another team, I'm not gonna do that, bro. It's not that serious for me, bro. I'm gonna go to work the next day. I'm probably gonna live my life and run it back the season after as a fan. Like I don't have to do that. I think that fan deserves to be permanently banned of that stadium. Like that's unacceptable. You can actually hurt somebody. And then what if you hurt a player and that player jumps over the fence and hits you now? You can't say, "Oh, he hit me. He's an athlete. He should have known better." Or you can't be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you can't sue me." Nah, because you violated his space and you disrespected. Like that's not cool. For a couple clicks and likes, bro, that's not cool, bro. That's not cool at all. I don't like that.
Yeah, I actually wanted to share this video, and it's
Yeah,
like, I look at this and it's like, I get that there's a lot of Yankee fans that people just don't like. There are a lot of, let me tell you something. There's a lot of arrogant Yankee fans that just don't know shit about baseball, bro. I'm sure there's a
yeah,
lot of fans out there in the world that root for different teams are under the same scenario, but nothing's
yeah,
more obnoxious than a a Yankee fan who doesn't know shit about baseball, and they are the ones that call the Michael K show in the morning and talk a whole lot of shit.
yeah.
And it's just like, dude, like, you guys don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. And the Yankee fans have had a bad reputation, in recent years,
Yeah.
more or less. Like the Straws incident with the Cleveland Indians or Guardians, should I say? But this right here, man, I don't know, dude. I just feel like it's very immature. It's very messed up. This is not something that you want to see. You don't want to whack a player in the head. It's not fun. Just a lack of respect there. Like I get the tensions are high and stuff like that, but this was completely uncalled for.
You know
I
what's
didn't
something?
like it.
You know what's something that I also wouldn't do that I see a lot of fans do? Let's say you're Yankee Stadium, right? And you're facing the Royals. Let's say Bobby Witt hits a shot and he hits it to you and you catch it. And you as a Yankee fan, you're gonna throw the ball back in the field. Nah, I'm keeping that ball, bro. What you mean I'm throwing it back?
Well,
I'm
and
keeping it.
Profar did that. He robbed the home run, and then
Yeah.
the Dodger fan looked at him like, "Oh, that was
That was
pretty
sick though. I
good."
like that. I
I
like
like
that.
that. I like that. Right. And then so I guess Profar liked the way he reacted or whatever. That the very next couple of innings or whatever, he went back and gave the player the ball, and then he ended up throwing it. Like that is disrespectful. Like he
He's
did
entertaining
that.
you.
Right.
Yeah.
He entertained you. Like,
Yeah.
and he did that for you. Like at least give the ball to a kid.
Yes.
At
Why would he
least.
throw it back? I just don't
And
get that, bro. Ooh, I have an arm. I'm throw the ball back. Yeah, that player sucks. Come on, bro. Just keep the ball, bro. What are the chances you're gonna get another ball, bro? It's not high. Just keep the ball. It could be a memorabilia ball. It could be a ball that's gonna be talked about in history. Like keep the ball. Why would he throw it
maybe you
back?
could get more. Maybe he can sign it for you. Like that's freaking awesome to have that done.
Oh
I
yeah.
want to actually share another topic now that we're talking about the Dodgers and everything. Was this incident with Manny Machado? I want to go ahead and share my screen once again. And it was this incident where Manny Machado threw the ball aggressively towards the Dodgers dugout, and David Roberts took offense to it. Well, the whole Dodgers really took offense to it, or whatever the case was.
Yeah.
What are some thoughts and opinions you want to share on this incident?
Well, I don't know if I'm right, but I think this happened after Tatis got hit by a pitch. I think it was, or
Yeah,
somewhere. I think it was Tatis, right?
yeah.
The Dodgers hit Tatis with a pitch. I don't know if there was intent behind the hit by pitch. Maybe Machado threw it back, not with the intentions of hurting somebody, but like, yo, we watching you, cut the shit, you know.
A little
But I
extra oomph
think,
on it,
huh? Go ahead.
like a little extra oomph on it, like he threw a little
Right.
bit.
I do think it doesn't help Machado only because his history. All the way as an Oriole. Like he's known to do, dirty plays, have malicious intent. Like for example, he saw him miss a strikeout in the back of Josh Donaldson at third almost. Remember way back,
Hmm.
running
I
through
remember.
first, hitting somebody's ankle. It's like things like that. It's like, we
And
questioning
then
your
the same
character.
night he did a huddle within the
Yes,
team.
yes, I like that though. I like that. I
I
feel like
like
that
that
got
too, but
him.
I'm saying
That
like
got him locked
him
in.
him
Yeah,
having that. I thought it was a mix of overreaction, or overreaction from Dave Roberts. I thought it was an overreaction, to be honest with you. Maybe he did try to throw the ball with a little extra oomph.
yeah,
It came after a time where Fernando Tatis got hit. So
yeah.
tensions were high. Um,
But I would say this though. I would say that as a Padre, I feel like we like you can have your opinions on Machado, he's dirty or not, but I feel like what I've seen the most out of him, I've seen his growth as a leader. He gets his team locked in. Even when we had the argument with Tatis several years ago, like that came from a place of leadership. I also seen the video for last game right before he was arguing with Jack Flaherty, he was telling his team like, "Yo," in Spanish, like, "Yo, he's a bum, he's a bum. Look for the fastball, look for the fastball," and it was dripping the pitch. So it's like he's studying the game. He's relaying the message to his teammates, like, "Yo, this is the advantage that I have. Use this for your advantage." So he's locked in. Like I appreciate that. He's a gamer.
I agree. I agree. No, more or less, yeah, I agree. But man, tensions were high in that series. It just
Yeah,
sucks. It just sucks that there can never be like a Dodgers Padres World Series. The most we
true,
could ever hope for is like an NLCS amongst the two.
true,
But it's very entertaining. It's just a
true.
very entertaining series.
Yo,
I look forward to watching that
and fun
tomorrow.
fact too, like now that you bring that up, the Phillies and the Mets never played each other in the playoffs, but they're heavy rivals. And we just
Really?
beat them. Yes, that's crazy. We just beat them. And if you recall, several months ago, the Knicks in basketball beat the Philadelphia 76ers. So that's two straight back-to-back L's in a matter of months. Like, if I was from Philly and I'm a fan, like I'll be sick as hell right now.
Yeah,
Shit.
that's a good point as we go ahead and go
You're
into
got it,
basketball
bro.
season. Yeah, that's a good point. But I mean, this comes faster years and years after, the Knicks were doing worse than the Sixers were.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Mets were doing worse than the Phillies were. So I mean, hey, if there's an opportunity to make it count, it definitely was this year, and the momentum that the Knicks had was just phenomenal. Um, one thing that I want to go ahead and switch gears to is going to be the Yankees now, and their playoff struggles. Yes, we're up 2-1 in the series, but man, 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 it has not been a pretty series for us. I'm going to go ahead and say something real quick. We should not be up in the series 2-1. We actually should have lost this series by now. And
I
I'll
agree.
say that because in comparison to the other teams, like we're just not hitting. You have to hit in playoffs. And I've said this time and time again. In playoffs, I find it very difficult to hit 100 miles an hour in cold weather than it is to throw 100 miles an hour. Also, you can't in cold weather. Also, you don't win the game 0-0. You need to hit. You need to hit. And Jazz Chisholm comments like, I love Jazz. I think he was a great fit for this team. I think he's great for baseball. I put Jazz in the category like, yeah, he might be talking shit, but there's a lot of other players out there in the world that talk shit too across various sports. You know what I'm saying? Like, and in basketball, in football, I'm gonna stick to those two because those are the two sports that I'm the most knowledgeable of. You're always gonna have players on the team where that their role is to talk shit, that they tend to feed off that type of stuff. People disrespecting Jazz because of his comments, it's not because he's on the Yankees right now. It's just the fact that, bro, there's players like that in every team. But why is it such a grave sin to be who he is in the MLB? Like I remember yesterday, for example, game three. I think he flew out or whatever the case was. He's running back to the dugout. The crowd is booing him. He's loving it. He's entertaining it, whatever the case is. I'm pretty sure he's having fun with it with fans and stuff like that. And in the camera, he goes like this. And then the old school baseball writers and commentators of the world or whatever, they have a big problem with that. And it's like, yo, but you have shit talkers in every league. And because he's doing it here in baseball, it's a bad thing. And my last point, I didn't appreciate this comment because you never want to add fuel to the fire. He called the Royals lucky. He backed up what he said by providing a tweet that showed a statistic where the Yankees had like harder hit balls, that their pitch was better and all this stuff. But here's the thing. You're going to Kansas City in a hostile environment. You're calling them lucky. You're asking for the fans to get on you. And then what happens if you don't perform? Who looks bad? Like, we don't need more back stigmas on the Yankees right now. Don't bring the bad vibes. Look at the Mets. Ain't nothing but great vibes over there. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to share this quick opinion on Jazz's comments. Calling the Royals lucky. I just feel like it was unnecessary to bring that type of publicity in this moment when you're going to Kansas City, and at the time the series was tied at 1-1. Talk shit after you beat them. That's my point. You want to share anything?
Go down on the screen a little bit so I can see the quote fully.
Yep.
So I did see this quote. I don't think it's necessarily the wrong thing to say. I just don't think he should have said it publicly at all. That's more internal, I feel. Um, the reason why is because this could come back and bite you at the end if you don't win. Like you really look stupid if you don't win when you say things like that. Um,
Which can happen. I mean, the way
it
that
can
we've been
happen.
playing, it
It's
could
always
happen.
happened, you know. So I agree with you that I feel like I mean a lot of Yankee fans is not gonna agree. At least I can talk to you. I think you're somewhat fair. I would say you're fair, right? I do think, realistically speaking, the Yankees easily could have lost the series. Like
I
the way they've
agree.
been playing, bro,
I
it's
agree.
not a
That was my
guarantee,
opening
bro.
statement. That was legit my opening statement. The way that we've been playing, we have not been hitting. We've been making
It's not like
immobile on the
like
bases.
like the Yankees aren't playing their best baseball, and they luck.
Yeah.
You know where luckily they're getting away with it because Stan has stepped up.
He
Jazz hit a
bailed
home
us
run the
out.
other
He
day.
literally bailed us out. Yo, bro, you're a baseball guy. You know your shit. Dude, we're falling behind every count. Every count is
Yeah,
1-2. Every count is 0-2. Bro, every ball, I get the umpire. And this is what me and you
And they
always go
haven't
back and
won
forth in
Super Bowl
softball,
fights.
right?
They haven't been, but you gotta make it happen at some point, bro.
Exactly. Like me and you always go back and forth with this in softball. Not in an argumentative fashion, but more like, dude, like we need to get on the same page in terms of like the whole team holistically.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, yo, I get like the umpires are not perfect.
yeah,
And honestly speaking, watching the Yankee games right now has been dreadful. Not just because of their performance, but the umpires have been extremely shitty. And
yeah,
second, the broadcast with Bob Costas
yeah,
and Ron Darling. Oh my
yeah.
God, like
And it's not
the
Darlin's fault.
worst.
It's Bob Cast. He has no energy, bro. He's so monotone, bro. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
and then you have the number one Yankee hater, and then a Mets favorite and Ron Darling. Like, come on. But whatever. Point is like you don't want to bring this negative light onto the team. We've been lucky. We just gave game one, and we
Yeah,
definitely by the skin of our teeth just gave by game three. So it's like for you to
yeah.
say this, man, I just feel like it was uncalled for.
Like when I
It's
look at the
bad.
Mets, when I look at the Yankees, and we spoke about this off camera, like I don't see the same type of game. And what I mean by that, I don't see them doing the little things that matter, like making
Extra
sure they get the
bases.
outs, making sure they limit the errors. For example, Jose Iglesias hit a ground the other day, and he beat it by diving to first base, and the run scored, and I think we tied the game. Like I'm not seeing the Yankee player
The
do
little
that,
things,
or even put
exactly.
themselves in that
Or
situation.
bunt. We can't even bunt successfully. We
But
cannot, yo, bro. We can't even bunt successfully. Like, yo, bro. If there's a man on first, you have Oswaldo. You have zero outs. You have Oswaldo batting.
yeah,
Yo, bro. This is something I don't question. It's not to get on Oswaldo Cabrera because I think he's a great player. He plays any and all positions,
yeah,
and you can bat him anywhere in the lineup between except for 3 to 5. But Oswaldo Cabrera, for example, yesterday, I think Anthony Volpe was on base. It was zero outs. Man on first. He attempted the bunt the first time, didn't attempt it again. Why not? Get out of the double play. That's baseball. Now a base hit brings Anthony Volpe in. I kid you not, the same exact scenario happened 2 innings later. Let me actually backtrack on that. There was one man on, Anthony Volpe, 2 outs. Oswaldo Cabrera fake bunted on the first pitch. Why would you even threaten to bunt in that situation? It doesn't make any sense for you to do that.
was
The
it a
other thing that
strike too?
I think it was a balls, but he didn't. It's just the fact that you don't even attempt that. There's no need for it. Like,
Not
bro,
for
put
one time.
both hands on
Yeah,
the bat and get ready to swing, bro. Like for real,
yeah,
we need you to hit. And
yeah.
Giancarlo Stanton bailed us out. We're not taking extra bases. We're not like
The
I don't know.
defense is
It's
too sloppy, bro. From what I
yeah,
see.
yeah. Like in terms of like cutoffs and stuff like that, we're still sloppy. And like I said, you cannot go into the playoffs with these type of question marks. And that's exactly what's going on, bro. So I look at it like, man, I'm a Yankee fan, but I look at it as like, if I'm assessing all of these teams that are playing right now, I would say the Yankees are playing the worst brand of baseball out of all of them.
I
Out of
agree.
all of them.
I
And then
agree.
one of the things that I want to go ahead and share that you actually brought up a great picture on was the fact of the scheduling. And it's not an excuse because, the Yankees aren't the only ones. But you brought this up. I wanted to go ahead and share my screen really quickly. You brought this up, and I think it was a great statistic because it really does throw off the momentum that essentially first place teams have, and that's that teams with buys under the new format since 2022, and this is just the National League. Zero series wins, six seeds have made World Series each year, and they are a 5-16 record. I don't even know what it looks like on the American League, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty much very similar. This scheduling has been extremely frustrated. How the fuck do we wait 5 days for the Yankees to play while the team that they're going to be competing against is still playing? 5 days for us to play. You play one game, off the next game, play another game, off the next game. You travel, you play. Like, what the fuck is this? What kind of schedule is this? The
I
stopping and going? You're telling me that in the past week they've had more days off than actual play? Bro,
yeah.
that threw us off our momentum a lot. Any little bit of momentum that we had has been obliterated. And not only that, but this team has shown that they need to constantly keep playing in order to keep that level of consistency that we're supposed to see. They just look off of it, dude. And it's impacted our best hitter, which I was gonna segue into, and that's Aaron Judge. But I don't know if you wanted to share your thoughts on that real quick.
Well, Fun fact: the Mets are the number 6 seed, so something to watch. Yeah.
Right, right.
Um,
But
I
you know,
would
they
say,
just they just don't have enough question marks like we do.
nah, yeah, I would say that the issue, in my opinion, with the scheduling is due to the fact that MLB is the only sports team in America that shit less than like 40% of his teams make the playoffs. So that's part of the issue. There's not an even balanced amount of teams. Like, yeah, you have what 12 teams make the playoffs, but you can't get from 12 to 8. It's
Right.
not an even half breakdown. So the solution would be to allow 16 teams to make the playoffs in baseball. Now the question is, would the owners want that? Would the commissioner want that? Because that's also a talking point where I'm not sure they would want that. Some traditional baseball players or fans feel like having 16 teams in the playoffs, like other sports, devalues the regular season in baseball, considering it's so long. Some people may feel like it devalues how bad of a team can still make the playoffs and go on a run versus a team that's won over 100 games and gets bounced in the first round. I'm just telling you the counter arguments to the topic. My opinion, I think they should expand the playoffs. Maybe shorten the regular season by 10, 20 games, and maybe that's a solution in the middle ground. I do agree. Baseball is out of all the sports is a baseball that requires rhythm. It's not like football where you can play once a week and you're at your best. It's not like basketball where you're playing 3 to 4 times a week. Now baseball is 6 to 7 times a week. So when you're not playing that many games and you're not seeing that many pitches as a hitter, you could go easily from being the hottest hitter on the planet to the coldest hitter on the planet. And same thing for pitching. So I agree with you in regards to the format.
I agree. I agree. Very well said. Very well said. And the impact that it's having on Aaron Judge right now, and not just him, because another player that has not been scrutinized has been Bobby Witt Jr. He had his first hit yesterday in this series in playoffs, and Aaron Judge at the end of the day, like he's the best hitter on the planet, a right-handed hitter on the planet right now currently, and his playoff struggles have been under a microscope. A career 203 hitter. Like he has nearly averages 2 strikeouts per game in playoffs. Nearly two. And I get it. Last night there was a check swing call on him that should not have been a call strike three. But at the end of the day, dude, like we need him to wake up. This offense does not function without him. Juan Soto has not been, the best either. I think he's banged up, but everybody's banged up. Like I don't have excuses for these guys anymore because what separates them and what they're dealing with compared to other teams? Like these are all self-inflicted injuries. Why is it that we have so many question marks? Why is third base a question mark? And even though we have Jazz there, and I would argue that I think Jazz is a phenomenal third baseman from what I've seen, the question still remains: who's our starting third baseman next year? Who's our starting second baseman this year? Like Anthony Volpe has been a huge disappointment. Aaron Judge's defensive metrics have not been the best at center field, and now he's struggling at the plate. Like we should not be having the pitching staff, the starting pitchers, Carlos Rodon acting the way that he did in Game Two, like striking out the side, feeling all coffee, and then he can't even get out of the fourth inning. Like where's the accountability here? And this is why I question the Aaron Boones of the world.
The
Like,
preparedness
why?
of the team.
I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
because
I
if
don't,
you think about it, you will tell a player like Carlos Rodon, like, we get it, you're trying your best, you're doing great, but save your energy because that energy could be the reason why you're tired later in a few innings, bro.
yeah, but let me
Easily.
say this.
Gotta save your bullets, bro.
Let me ask you this though, because there are players out there, you know who they are, who they act a certain way on the field, that when they
Yeah.
tend to do certain behaviors, it looks very unnatural or very unlike them. And you question it, like, yo, like you just that's not you, bro. Carlos Rodon to me in my eyes is somebody who, he seems angry on the mound, very Lance Lynn-ish, like very focused on his pitching, very he looks mad while he's pitching. But that's him. We know that that's him. That's Carlos Rodon. That's how he
Yeah.
pitches. Fist pumps, yells, talk shit. Cool. That's who you are. But what he did in game two, striking out one batter, looking at the players like, oh, it's on today, boys. And then striking out again and then sticking out your tongue like, dude, you've never done that before. You've never done that. That's not you, bro. And then to do it in
Yeah.
playoffs and not even get out of the fourth inning,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I'm a Yankee fan. I know I
Yeah, I have
stand by
another
my
question
team,
for
but
you,
there's some
bro.
things that I just don't appreciate. And it's like comparing it to other teams, it's like you have to be realistic. Do we have what it takes? On paper, yeah. But
Yeah,
paper doesn't
translate.
bleed, doesn't sweat, doesn't put in the effort.
Yeah,
Paper don't mean shit.
yeah. How you feel about Garrett Cole? Because if I were a Yankee fan, I feel like I'll be very disappointed with what he gave me on the game one start.
Absolutely. It was mediocre. It's not
And
up to
I
Garrett Cole
feel like
standards.
if he continues that trend, I don't see the Yankees having success as it goes, in my
Well, we shall
opinion.
see today. No, he's pitching today.
Today's you're getting paid 300 million. Like today's a day. Let's see what's up.
I, I'll say this. Garrett Cole gets a pass in my eyes because he is our ace. He's been our ace for years. He will continue to be our ace. This year has not been up to his standard. Granted, he's dealing with a little bit of injuries here and there, at least early on in the season, some elbow fatigue or some arm fatigue. I think he's just adopting into, he's a parent of two now compared to just being a parent of one. He is older now. There's a lot more mileage on that arm. So I just think he's going through the growing pains of discovering who he is as a pitcher right now. Because
Yeah,
before last year, he was known for giving up the long ball. Last year he didn't really do that quite as often. So I feel like he's throwing more cutters now. I feel like he's just reestablishing himself. He's fine tuning a lot of things. I feel like this year he wasn't given enough time to figure it all out. But where he went wrong in game one is the fact that usually he's a creature of habit. Usually, like he always wants to throw every 5 days. Always.
yeah.
He's a creature of habit. And I understand that. But he did not go into game one. He had more than 5 days of rest. That already threw him off. Game one, there's pressure there. Cool. He didn't do so bad, but he definitely could have done better. I think I hope there's good news at the end of this game. By the next time we record, I hope that the Yankees
Yeah,
and the Mets are still in it.
yeah.
But I feel like he's gonna shove today. I feel like he's gonna throw really, really well. I'm not worried about him today. I'm
No,
worried about the offense not only today, but for the rest of this year. I genuinely worry about the offense, bro. We do not hit. And you don't win the game 0-0. You win the game scoring
And you can't
runs.
just rely on one person and stand either. Like eventually, it's not gonna last.
Stanton of all people, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
he
Soto
can't.
has to step up. Judge has to step up, and the rest of the lineup got to step up too, bro.
Everybody does.
Yeah,
Everybody does. So I'll see. I think I have a better opinion as to Garrett Cole. I have to show him grace. I feel like he's earned it. He's been the horse. Um, we'll see after today. Hopefully, there's still some good news after the fact, but we shall see, man. I think this is a interesting series, and I told you this from the get go, and I stand on this. And this is the last thing that I'm going to say. If the Yankees lose, I won't be upset. And the reason why is because I feel like we'll see the change that I finally wanted to see, and that's I think it's more than just a team problem. I think it's organizational problem that we're dealing with here. And if the Mets win, I'll be happy, to be honest. I'm like, dude, if not now, then when? I mean, this is a story being written and
and like
and
I've
and
always
I'm
said,
all for it.
they're not supposed to be here, and they still here. So yeah.
Right, right. The
Um,
vibes is high.
I have two more things to say before we wrap it up. The first thing is the Dodgers are doing a bullpen game against the Padres tonight actually. How do you feel about that? What are your thoughts? And then I'll share my thoughts.
Um
And then
see, I
sorry,
didn't
and then you
yeah.
have the Padres. Dylan Cease pitching on short rest today as well.
I am a betting man, and I am going for the Padres for this series. I'm gonna say I've seen enough Dylan C starts to say that him going on short rest is something to be concerned about. But I think if anything is something where they're going with the safer option, right?
Yeah,
In
yeah,
comparison to the Dodgers, the other side of the coin is they're doing a bullpen game. I was never a fond of bullpenning, honestly.
yeah,
Only if your roster is built like that. Only. Like, for example, the Royals. They were the one that pretty much invented this shit. That their starting pitcher could give you 3-4 solid, but their bullpen was built to last. I feel like the Dodgers are not built that way. So them doing this bullpen game is shaky. I don't like it. How about you?
I think it's pretty embarrassing that you have a top three payroll in baseball and you can't have a quality pitcher start your game in a playoff game in a do or die game, bro. Like this is 2024. Like what world are we in, bro? Like how does that happen?
I mean, they've had a shitload of a lot of
Dude, but
injuries
they
though,
have like
bro.
10 starting pitchers, bro. You telling me all their pitchers are unavailable, bro?
Who would you have started?
That Glasnow, is he hurt? Yeah, I think he's hurt, right?
Yeah, he's been here for a while.
Kershaw, he's hurt. He's not on the roster.
Dustin May is out.
Bueller
Walker
just
Buehler's
pitched.
trash.
Flaherty
Yamamoto's
just
not pitching
pitched.
so good. Shohei Ohtani can't pitch.
Nah, bro. So this is not a team. So this team doesn't deserve to pass if you think about it, bro. They don't have the
Yeah,
team. They don't have the team healthy or ready to surpass to have a deep playoff run, bro.
exactly.
It goes back to the point. I'd rather face them than the Padres, bro. Look at that, bro. That's embarrassing. You're gonna bring your whole bullpen out. What if the Dodgers win today and they advance? What if, right? Now your whole bullpen is tied for the next series. Now you depending on your starters to give you length, but you don't even have four quality starters healthy. It's not a recipe for success. I think they deserve to lose. That's my take on it, bro. That's it.
I
That's just
agree.
very bad management, very bad luck, and very bad team building, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. I mean, a lot of things went south. Like Dustin May is out. Tony Gosselin, also former All Star, when
Yeah,
that one year he's out. The Dodgers have had a lot of, and I've been telling you, the Dodgers have had a lot of injuries.
but does that now give us a different perspective on the way they build? Because if you really think about it, it appears that every time they go for this super team and loaded rosters, they mostly improve the offense. They don't really focus as heavy on the pitching because they've been relying on Kershaw for 15 years. They've been relying on Bueller to not have had this injury, but I feel like at some point, you kind of gotta invest in your starting your rotation as well. Even Yamamoto hasn't pitched that well either.
Well, he was their investment. He just hasn't panned out the way that he should. You know, I feel like they went into the offseason improving their starting pitcher,
They
but
thought they would be, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think they did it with the thought of this is gonna be a longer term project than just this year. I think they were just trying to get by this year. Um, Example, Shohei Ohtani can't pitch. I think they expected Yamamoto to be their ace for now. Tony Gosselin is out. Dustin May is out. Walker Buehler has gone down. But I think there's another pitcher, but Bobby Miller also has not been successful. Um, Clayton Kershaw didn't sign until the middle of the year, and he's up there in age at least. So I feel like they look at the starting pitcher as like maybe not this year we're gonna be the best, but we plan on coming in 2025 fully loaded.
Yeah, but then you're essentially wasting a year this year when you got Otani, you know?
Well, I mean, just them making the playoffs right now is, I think that internally that might have been their goal. You know, I don't think they really projected to go to the World Series, but the amount of injuries that they were able to sustain.
But you don't think that's a low bar because this is a team that it's considered a perennial playoff team every year, just like the Yankees.
And I think they're pulling the
Just
Yankee
getting to
card. I think they're
no,
just like, you know,
no, but I'm
and
saying
playoffs
that
is a crapshoot.
just getting to the playoffs, I don't think that's considered a success for as a Dodger internally, in my opinion.
No, I don't think it's a good. I like it better when teams go into playoffs and they know that they're trying to win the World Series. I love that. I think there's beauty in that.
Yeah.
I don't like the whole going into the playoffs and it's a crapshoot. I disagree with that. I don't think it's a crapshoot. I think that if you could build your team strong enough, like the Astros, they weren't built to make the playoffs and then it's a crapshoot. No, they were built to win championships.
Multiple at that.
Exactly. And look what happened. They ended up winning more than just one, you know? So
Okay.
even though one of them is sated, but it 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 is what it is, man. It is what it is. And you know, I think it's the Padres' time.
Yeah. This is their
Eh,
window.
right. And you know, their owner died last year, you know, a lot of emotions with that. And they pieced together a team that before the injuries was very well balanced. They had a first baseman who won the batting title. They have versatile players that play multiple positions, whether it's Kim at shortstop or Bogarts at second,
Profar.
Jackson Merrill right, or vice versa. You could flip them around. Manny, Tatis,
Profar.
Profar has been an all-star this year. Their pitching staff on paper at the beginning of the year, even in the absence of Blake Snell, Musgrove is the ace. Yu Darvish, experience, movement for days. Michael King, I thought was somebody that can eventually be their ace. I do think highly of him, and he had great performances so far. Their bullpen with their acquisitions of Adams and Tanner Scott, like I think the Padres did the necessary moves to get over the Dodger hump.
Yeah,
And I think that that's what drove them was we got to beat the Dodgers, and if we beat the Dodgers, we can make the World Series. They're my pick to win that series. Now up against the Mets, I already told you my concern with the Mets is just that one thing, and that's fatigue. And I hope and pray they make it. Like I really hope and pray they make it. But I think right now the Padres are probably the ones that be coming out of the, and I hope I'm wrong, out of the
I just,
National
I
League.
just, I just hope Edwin Diaz gets it together for the next round because this dude has given me so many emotional heartbreaks throughout this series against the Phillies and the Brewers. But luckily, he's been just good enough to get us the saves. But I don't sustain it for being long if he keeps pitching how he's pitching, falling
Yeah.
behind counts every batter, being so wild with the fastball. You got to get it together. But my
Hmm.
last point before you wrap it up, as you getting ready to watch your Yankee game, I do have some discontent with the way the baseball is played nowadays a little bit. Something that I observed a lot in these playoffs. It seems like a lot of hitters nowadays, their mindset is I'm committing, I'm making up my mind before the pitch is thrown. So what I mean by that, I'll give an example. There's pitches, for example, that are way off the strike zone in the dirt, high, outside, and these hitters are just swinging automatically. They're not even letting the ball travel. They're not even adjusting as the ball's coming. They're not even having a game plan. It just seems like, oh, next pitch is coming, I'm swinging no matter what. And I think that's a bad ideology. Like I feel like it allows for more room to swing and miss. It allows less room for trajectory, getting better habits, having a proper mindset.
Is
I
not the
don't like
proper approach at
I
all.
don't like the way that baseball is trending in that direction in the last, actually this generation. I would say that's my
Okay.
critique with baseball.
And then, so
I'm not
what is
sure
your
if you've seen
question
that.
exact? So what exactly is your question here?
Is that something that you see on your end in observations or no?
Um,
Or is that something you have noticed?
I haven't noticed that.
Okay.
Um, I haven't noticed that. I feel like I think the mound should be moved back a couple of inches, not feet. I think a couple of inches. I think it should be moved back at minimum 11 inches. I'm sorry, maximum 11 inches. Because I feel like pitchers are throwing harder nowadays, and I feel like pitchers are not gonna tend to want to adjust their velocity and want to continue to throw that 97, 98. And we're seeing now that it's resulting into a lot of injuries. So it's not something that I've observed. It's crazy that you even noticed that. Um, but I do think that we live in a world where they don't take pitches as often anymore. Like look at the Yankees, for example. We've ended one game two on a first pitch on a
Yeah,
first pitch
Glaber.
approach.
Yeah, I
Yeah, with
saw that. Yeah,
Glaber.
yeah.
We had an opportunity last night after two straight walks. Alex Verdugo grounded out to first to end the inning on the first pitch.
But that's what I'm
Um,
saying to you. Like, are these players coming to the plate and they be like, "Yo, next pitch I see, I'm swinging," because sometimes it just does not make sense. For example, it's not typically a hitter's count. They don't have the advantage in the count. The pitcher may have been erratic, throwing a lot of balls, and these guys are bailing some of these pitchers out. So I'm just trying to understand and compute, like, what is the approach at the plate? Because to me, as a fan and as a viewer and as a person that played baseball, it just does not add up to me. It does not make sense at
I
some of these
agree.
swings. Don't get me wrong, though. I give them some bail because pitches are harder now. There's more movement. There's different arm angles. So I get that I can get you to bite, but it can't be a repetitive thing every single time, you know?
With every hitter. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't have a rebuttal for you, dude. I think that's a bad way of playing baseball. I think that's a bad way of producing proper at bats.
And on top of that, I also see that there's more guest pitching now as a hitter. You see, when we play MLB the show, you can guest pitch. Hey, I think this
Yeah.
is going to go here. And you see the
Yeah.
target, bing, right? So I see that with players now, too. Like, sometimes I feel like to the flip side of them just swinging at anything, I feel like sometimes they just don't swing at all on a pitch middle. Sometimes it's because you're cross referencing. You expected a slider, but he threw your fastball. But I feel like sometimes you just gotta react too, especially if it's middle. Even if it's not the pitch you're looking for. And I don't know about that. Like guest pitching, I feel like it's a very risky tactic and approach as a hitter. Even though a guy like A-Rod is known to have done that and he said it publicly and it worked wonders for him. You know, he got Hall of Fame numbers, but I still don't recommend that for every player to do it
And
in that
he's right
perspective.
a lot. That's the thing too. He's right a
But he's
lot.
also had a lot of strikeouts. So it's like, you know,
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's a trend that it could be happening a lot, and I think that maybe video games has something to do with it, you know. But
do you do that
nah,
when you play? Do you guest
uh,
pitch
like in real life,
in real life?
no. I've had the very simple approach: react fastball and then adjust onto the off speed.
So you never go to the plate thinking like, oh, this guy. I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say you're facing a pitcher that's known to be a mixture of fastball and knuckleball, for example. You're not thinking like, oh, it's a 2-1 count. He's gonna throw me a knuckleball right here. You're not thinking that like,
Think
if I see
think
the
fast,
knuckleball, I'm ripping
yeah.
it.
Think fastball, react to the off speed, bro.
Because
At
that's what I
that
was
point,
taught. That's how I always played.
now going up to the at bat, like first couple of at bats or whatever, or first couple of pitches that I see, I'm going up there. I see fast, like I'll call it like the first pitch. Like, all right, I got the green light. I'm thinking fastball here. If he gives me the fastball, I'm going to be ready for it. Or sometimes I might think he might try to set me up inside with something off speed, but there's like a front door slider, front door curveball or something, and I'm going to be waiting on it. And if it's a fastball, I'm letting it go. Let him find the strike zone. So I more in real life, I tend to guess the first or second pitch, and then it's just kind of like react fastball, react to the off speed. That's it. And yeah, I don't know what these dudes. I don't know what they're taught, man. I mean, hey, they're professionals and we aren't. So I don't know, dude. Maybe there's something going on in those hitter meetings that
And
you know.
another observation before we wrap up, I feel like there's also a lot of players that not a lot, but there's a good amount of players that don't necessarily love hitting fastballs. And it questions me like, why wouldn't you want to hit a fastball? You know, that's the best pitch that you can ever hit. It's the pitch with
Right.
the less deception, and it's the easiest pitch of time, even though it's hard. You know, so it's just very questionable.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. No rebuttals there. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what goes on in those hitting. I would love to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah,
And like every hitters meeting before any major series, like I would love to be a part of that. Like I've heard rumors where, the hitting coaches that have fun with it, where they turn the hitters meeting into like a party just to keep it like loose or whatever the case is. I've heard on the Foul Territory podcast that there were instances where there were um women without shirts in those hitters meetings. Like there's everything goes on, but just more or less to just hear the game plan going into it. Like, all right, like this pitcher is about to throw this, or he's known to doing this on the discount, or whatever the case is. So, it's just interesting. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
nah, man, you gotta tap into this Yankee game, and hopefully next time we record, you have good news on your end. You know, and
Yeah.
you kick it from there.
Hopefully, and hopefully we get to at least live stream. I know you shared something with me recently, and you want to bring that over to the audience. I think that's something that we could definitely work on. I took a look at it, took some notes there. We shall see. But until then, thank you guys for watching episode 22 of the 300 Club podcast. My name is Kelvin. This is Gilbert. Hopefully we have better news, man. Go ahead and sign us out.
We are here, episode 22. This is Gilbert over here. This is Calvin, 300 Club Podcast. You already know I'm a Mets fan, you a Yankee fan. We tapped in. You know we
Let's
out of
go.
here. Good
Let's
luck,
go.
bro.
Thank you. They gonna need it.